they play, they perform or whatever, and Nicholson is not it. So, man, what go on? I don't know, bash thing. If you say this, bro, I don't know, bash thing, or we doubt you or nothing like that. All we're saying is we need to see her play regular football.
The shot will go. Oh, it goes in. Shamar Nicholson missed the original attempt. Recovered well, twisted his body, and steered the ball in for Boys Town. Shamar Nicholson, goal number 13 for the season.
Welcome back to MG Sports. It's your boy John Stewart, and it's a Monday, so you know what time it is. Welcome back to the weekly Reggae Boyz Roundup. And of course, that means it's time to get your latest news on what's going on at club level for the majority of the Reggae Boys, what they're doing in terms of form, tactical shifts, suspensions, injuries, all of that. So, without further ado, let's get into it. As you know, Saturday, that's where we usually start off majority of the games. Look to the EFL Championship, where Leicester took on league leaders in the championship, Coventry. Bobby Reid had a great game, or at least in the first half he did. Got an assist. I'm serious, you have to go check that assist out. Great instinctive pass, on the turn. Just flicked it to his teammate Jordan James for a goal. And overall, he had a really good game. And it pointed out something to me tactically that, of course, he's being in that number 10 role. But tactically, there's something that really stood out to me that I hope the Reggae Boys exploit. And it's that his late runs into the box caused the Coventry some problems. He had a couple of shots that were saving, especially the first one where didn't hit it as cleanly, but still caused a lot of problems. The goalkeeper had to really make a really acrobatic effort to get that over the bar. Those late runs were crazy, and of course they're coming from low cross, low cutbacks to the edge of the box, and I think that's something we definitely need to use because, of course, as we know, we struggle to score goals. Of course, Cephas's creativity has been much needed. And Warner Brown for a little period was on some form, but other than that, we haven't really gotten enough goals. That's been our main real issue, in my opinion, right through the qualification process, especially in the final qualification process, the last two games, we didn't score enough goals. And I think Bobby Reid, if he continues on this vein of form that he's been on for Leicester the second half of the season, thus far, of the last, I'd say 10 to 15 games, he's been on really, really good form. And I hope we exploit that towards the, as I hope we exploit that as we look forward to the March game, of course, March 26th against New Caledonia. So, moving ahead, of course, Casey Palmer, as we discussed last week, just coming off the bench, starting to get back into the Hull City squad after the injury, that horrible injury last year. Came off the bench late in a 2-1 win, I believe. Yeah, 2-1 win over Southampton. And I can't really make much of the performances. Came on late, so not really much to discuss there. Not really much to discuss either in Cadamarchi's game as usual. Started, finished the game, but Sheffield Wednesday lost 1-0 to Portsmouth. They're rooted at the bottom of the table, and on some level, I feel bad for him because if we're just going to be honest, he's not playing in a great team. It's not like he's getting a bunch of chances where he can say, all right, him just not clinical or whatever. No, he's a decent player, decently, technically gifted. However, him not score no goal. You get me? And he's not a player that from based on what I see at least, he's not a player that I can say, all right, he's going to make something happen out of nothing. We can just dribble past a player or just take a touch on the half turn and just volley it from 30 yards out. He's just not that player. And I don't know. I just don't see anything special where I can validate him being in the squad over certain other players who either are on form or they must show me something. You get me? But nevertheless, it is what it is. Moving on, of course, now to Charlton. who of course employ three of our players. They had Caroy Anderson, who started and finished the game. Played decently. Still needs some work in terms of ball retention. He's decent at that, but I'd love to see him be more adventurous in his play. Of course, that comes with confidence, but I'd love to see that more from him. They played Sheffield United, by the way, in that 1-0 win. Tyrese Campbell came off the bench in the second half. Amari Bell didn't play, for those wondering. And yeah, not much to say. You guys know how I feel about the majority of the players from Charlton already. But I will say that spot at left back for Amari Bell is going to be rough from here on out. Not just for Charlton, but for Jamaica, because as you know, Greg Lee is already there. But also Rico Henry. He's been starting recently for Brentford. But we'll get to that later. But yeah, moving on. QPR, they drew with Stoke 0-0, and of course Isaac Hayden finished the game. Not really much to say about that performance either. Wouldn't say it was amazing, you get me? But yeah, we know what he brings whenever he plays for Jamaica. So there's not much to say about that one, but he did decently well. Just quickly gonna touch on the League Two, because there's of course only really two players that we're concerned about in League Two, and that's Kym Dixon, Tyrese Hall. The two teams played against each other this weekend on Saturday. Thing is though, Hall came off the bench in the second half, and Kym didn't even make the squad. So not really much to report on. Of course though, as I mentioned in a previous video, it is rumored that Tyrese, following his great form this season, could be on the move to Southampton or Hull. Or maybe getting recalled back to Spurs. So we'll see how that goes. He's been really, really good. So who knows? But I will say I have a lot to say about this upcoming game. That's League One. Mansfield Town taking on Port Vale. Of course, new signing John Russell is the main reason as to why we're now invested in Mansfield Town in League One. And I must say, I saw a bit of this game, and I like what I saw. Russell didn't play until the second half. He came on in the 46th minute, and he changed the game, in my opinion. He changed the game, and similar to the Leicester game, where I can say tactically it brought up some things where I'm like, I can make note of that. You get me? Because the goals started just flooding in once he came onto the game. And as we know, primarily how Russell plays for us, of course, us being the national team, he plays like a McTominay, for those who, want like a reference in terms of, all right, what type of player is he? Probably don't get to watch the games as regular or whatever. He's like a McTominay. He's gonna crash the box, make the late runs. Because of his height, he can head the ball pretty well and can finish decent technically, actually. Pretty underrated aspect of his game. But what I noticed in the game when he did come on, he was involved in the first goal. Got the ball to his teammate Oates, who then went on a drive to shoot the ball, whatever. But what I noticed was that he was really good at just dictating the play once he came on. And I feel like perhaps that was kind of something that was Mansfield was missing. Before he came on, they didn't really have control over the game as they wanted to. But once he came on, he completely flipped the script. Of course, he was still crushing the box. He was still trying to get in there and cause chaos. But he was really good with the ball. Not clean, like putting on anything fancy or anything like that. But he's efficient and moved the ball pretty well. And I think that's something that he's definitely going to have to add even more so to his game, because we are desperately short on midfielders that can actually boss a game. We have a bunch of industrious midfielders who, can tackle and them got good work rate, but we not really have a bunch of midfielders where you can say, all right, we just take a one touch and evade pressure. and can just use a drop of a shoulder and just, lose a man and know when to play what pass. And tactically and intelligence wise, I don't see a lot of our midfielders having that. So if Russell begins to add that to his game on top of his attacking prowess, it could really, signal a shift in terms of what he's able to do or what we are able to do as a team, really. And of course, that would be useful against New Caledonia. But anyway, they won 3-1. No, 3-0. 3-0. And that means currently, I believe they're 10th. Yes, they're 10th. And they have 2 games in hand, which if they win, they'll move up to 5th, which of course would place them in a playoff spot. And that obviously would be good because that would get them to the championship. Also, I know he's not Jamaican, but half a shout out, Iro. The Spurs loanee came on, I think he came off the bench, but he scored 2 goals, and the second one was crazy. That was a brilliant goal, I have to say. But moving on to the Scottish Cup, St. Mirren played Livingston they beat them on penalties, I believe, and Richard King played. According to the reports, because I didn't get to see that game, but according to the reports, he didn't really get a great match rating. But and it is what it is with Richard King. He's been actually really good so far this season. Of course, as we know, the regular starter for the national team. Not really worry about that. Everybody now go play great every week, and on top of that, man's already won a trophy. What more can you tell him right now? Man already come and make St. Mirren win a trophy when nobody would have ever expect that. So big up him. But moving on to some more troubling news. Yeah. I think it's time to have that discussion about Shamar Nicholson. As far as I know, both are not injured. As far as I know. Let me know in the comments if you don't know what go on, if you don't have the ins and outs about the squad. But as far as I know, Shamar Nicholson is fit and available. But yet, these last 3 games, he's not been selected for the squad because, as you know, Mexican League was on a break. That's why I wasn't really talking about Shamar. So really wasn't talking about him. But since it started back to 1, I've played 3 games. And he's not been in the squad for any. Forget about not starting or not playing. He's not even been on the bench. That leaves the question, what go on? No, the Mexican League pretty competitive. It's one of the better leagues in football, and I get it. But even early on in the season, he was getting 1 and 2 games, and he might score a goal this season. So what happened? Was there a fallout? Is it that he's not performing in training? What's going on? We need to know. Because we have, of course, big game coming up in March, and the more the merrier right now in terms of forward options. Because as we know, as we said before, CFOS, I've said it many times, FEAM League now start back till the 28th, so we need not talk about him, but we know how FEAM situation go on already in Russia. And for those of you who do not know, I regularly say it every week. I same thing. Always come off the bench. Hasn't scored yet this season or even assisted, I think. His team's at like the bottom of the league. But we know what he brings when he plays. Borrell injured and he was our most informed striker, but he's gonna come back right around March and the game's late in March. So and Gray is injured until February. So we need to know that somebody is there who can say, they play, they perform or whatever, and Nicholson is not it. So, man, what go on? I don't know, bash thing. If you say this, bro, I don't know, bash thing. Or we doubt you or nothing like that. All we're saying is, we need to see her play regular football. You get me? And yes, people have pointed out before, in previous videos in the comment section, say, you're not concerned about this man who not play regular football, but you're concerned about this man. And you have to understand, a lot of that, for me, even though to Uno, it might feel like hypocrisy. hypocrisy. Not hypocrisy. It's just context and nuance. You get me? It differs from player to player based on what I see from them whenever they do play. Certain man like Hayden, even though him not really light up the world with QPR whenever he plays, me know what him bring to the national team, not just in terms of how well he plays, but how vital he is to the team. We saw how the team looked without him in the Gold Cup. Not saying we would have done so, like infinitely better, but no, so it wouldn't look like that. No, so it wouldn't look like that. So it's not really a hypocrisy thing or a bias thing. It's just there's certain players who, yes, as much as Nicholson has a crazy goal record, he's still somebody who my office is something from. You get me? Not saying I not trust him, but my office is something from you, bro. Office is something from you, bro. Feel like instill that more so the confidence. You get me? Because we need it right now. We need the confidence. We need to go in our playoffs knowing, say, all right, we have a proven goal getter. We trust. And he's been that, to be honest, with the national team. But in a game of this importance, yeah, we need all we can get, bro. So hopefully a shape up. Hopefully whatever problem is going on, whatever is happening, hopefully him just get back in our team. But moving on, Roma played Torino in a rematch of their cup game that they lost a couple of days ago. They played in the league against Torino. 1-2-0 to avenge the loss. But thing is, Bailey didn't play. Wasn't even on the bench. So that begs the question. Was him playing and starting in the cup game a signal that, hey, you're not a first team starter? Which, granted, can't really cuss or, say nothing too hard about. I mean, in a day, he's been injured for most of the season, so he has to take some time to, you get me? Get himself into the first team. I mean, and I like say, the baller can just, we know your quality, so you can just walk in our team. You get me? Even though he's a high status player, in a day, you have to prove yourself based on the injuries that you've had. So, Leon Bailey, obviously, bro, is just go and prove yourself. You believe in you, no matter what people want to say. Me believe in you. Let me say that. Me believe in you. So just prove yourself, bro. That's all we say. Just go and just prove yourself, bro, and do your best. Coming up on Monday, Dujan. This is going to be released Monday before Dujan plays, because he's playing in a game against West Ham in the Premier League 2 for the under-21s for Chelsea. So obviously we're not gonna get to watch that, but all the best, bro. Of course they lost recently to 6-2 to Benfica in the game before this. So confidence might not be so high right now, but I say some things were said. put it that way. In the interview recently, I don't know which interview I thought. Nah, say nothing about that, but go and hold your head up, bro. Hopefully you get to break through soon in terms of first team, but for now, just keep your focus on, playing as well as you can when you get games like this against West Ham. Do your thing, bro. But yeah, and then moving on to the JPL. The JPL, majority of the games weren't played, and that's for a very big reason that we're going to have to discuss. And that's the practice match against Grenada that was played yesterday on Sunday. Because as I said before, this is most likely going to come out on Monday. So only one game was played, or 2 games, I should say. And then we have coming up for you, live on MG Sports, with most likely your boy doing commentary for the Arnett game. Arnett versus Waterhouse. So that will be one of the games that will be shown or will be, played this week for the Jamaican Premier League. But the practice match I have to talk about, even though it's not a club level thing, I get it. But 1-0, good result in terms of, alright, we get the win. But boy, everybody else says, watch, I kind of agree. But in terms of overall, just never did a move the ball pretty well. Like, yeah, with a pass run, but it wasn't adventurous. And I've sung the praises of a lot of players that were on the pitch. Previously, I've sung the praises on this in the Reggae Boys roundup because of how well they're playing at club level, and I'm saying they deserve a shot. And did they prove themselves? Man, I don't know if they were giving Speed something really to think about based on those performances, but I will still say that I believe in them. Of course, Nikhil Fuller got the winning goal, and he's somebody that I've highly rated. Haven't really spoken about him this season in the roundup because I don't think he hasn't been there as much as last season. Especially to start the season, he wasn't there. But we know of his quality. We know how good he is from set pieces. We know how good he is in general. So big up himself. But hopefully, based on training, based on whatever happens moving forward, the rest of the guys like that I've spoken about before, like Merrick and Ellis and Ainsworth, I hope they prove themselves so they can really give Mr. Speeder, a real, what you call it now, something to think about in regards to the New Caledonia game. But that has been it. That has been it, guys, for the Reggae Boys roundup. Leave a like, subscribe, comment, share your thoughts and all of that, and let me know what you think. That's it. That's been your boy John Stewart. Stay tuned, and of course, remember, so we have match tonight, Arnott Gardens versus Waterhouse. God bless.